One thing I wanted to talk about was that I've been reading through Tim Keller's book, Every Good Endeavor, which is about work and the importance of work in the life of the Christian. And it's very relevant to what I'm doing with the Tectonic School. And I'm talking with somebody about it later on this week. So next Monday, you'll probably see a conversation about the book. And overall, it's really good. But and I've been a fan of Tim Keller, but obviously there are these criticisms about him and his winsome approach and being too soft on issues that you should be tougher on. And there was a paragraph in the book that stood out to me, and it kind of gave me an aha moment where I feel like I understand a little bit more of what's going on there. And he's talking about, I just have the screenshot. So he's talking about how a Christian understands work, and you know, it's not limited to, there's not a secular sacred divide in regards to the quality of work and things like that. And this is what he says. This means, ironically, that Christians who understand biblical doctrine ought to be the ones who appreciate the work of non-Christians the most. We know we are saved by grace alone, and therefore we are not better fathers or mothers, better artists or business persons than those who do not believe as we do. Our gospel-trained eyes can see the world ablaze with the glory of God's work through the people he has created and called, in everything from the simplest actions such as milking a cow to the most brilliant artistic or historic achievements. Now, I think there is obviously an element of truthfulness in what he's saying that we should agree with. And as an example, as a carpenter, I try to do my best. Sometimes I make mistakes. There could very well and absolutely be carpenters who are more skilled than me that can do a better job, that are more precise, can work more quickly. Certainly there's many that can work more cleanly than I do, because that's not one of my strong suits. And so, yeah, I can totally agree with that in one sense. But I feel like when we apply that thinking to some of the examples that he gives there, especially like better fathers and mothers, there are qualitative differences about those things that perhaps we could say somebody who does not believe is better in some measurable aspects. But I don't think that they actually are. And I think that there is a very big importance to intention. And the Christian is aware of their weaknesses and their faults, but they offer those things to God as a means for him to be glorified. And God can do more and better with a faulty person submitted to him than with a perfectionist, a talented, skilled person who does what they do for their own glory. And an example of this that I thought was very interesting was Aaron Wren had a video, and he posted this thread on Twitter, and then he made a video expounding on it, of this guy from South Korea talking about why he probably won't have kids. And he talked about how his parents basically made all these huge sacrifices in like living in these tiny places, scrimping and saving and doing all this extra work so that they could afford tutors and all this effort, because the education system there is so competitive, and basically everybody is doing the same thing, and so they, everybody's putting all their eggs into the basket of like, my kids must succeed better than I did, they have to have better education, I'm giving them opportunities. And basically what this guy said that was put this tweet thread was that it would be disrespectful to his parents to put himself in a position to be able to have a family, unless if he gets to a point where he's wildly successful, because his parents sacrificed for him to have the educational opportunity, to have this career opportunity. The career opportunity is so demanding of him that the only way that he could have kids would be either to sacrifice the career so that he could provide for his kids the same level of intense focus and educational priority that his parents did, or throw away his career for the sake of, moving to the country or something, and that would be disrespectful of his, either one would be disrespectful of his parents' sacrifice in a sense, because it wouldn't be fair to the kids to put them through something that he did not enjoy as a child, but he respects that his parents did it because it was a massive sacrifice. So he wouldn't want to put his own kids through that because he wouldn't enjoy doing that, but he doesn't want to just focus on enjoying having kids because that would be disrespectful to the choices that his parents made. And the career is basically overwhelming and consuming. And the end of the thing is that, and Aaron Wren kind of talks more about the statistics of Korea, that they put their focus on this educational path, and now they have the lowest birth rate in the world. They've made it the most difficult for people to have kids. So on one aspect, I could say, oh yeah, those people are way better parents than I am because they sacrifice so much and they put so much effort in. So in that measurable aspect, their kid has a lot of benefits because of the better parenting that his parents did. But the miserableness that is produced by that isn't really worth it. And what's more is it's ended. God gave us a command to be fruitful and multiply, and we have put such restrictions and boundaries on how that is to be done that we've made fulfilling that command almost impossible. Whereas, a lot of people, I probably let my kids watch more TV than is ideal. So, does that make me a bad parent? I don't know. They probably watch less than a lot of other kids do, but it's not ideal. Someday, will that make it easier for them to relate to some people more so than they would relate to a kid that grew up in South Korea in that crazy system? Probably. Does that mean that they might be more effective in reaching somebody with the gospel? It's possible. It's possible. Because I think Christians can do the same thing in their parenting style of trying to filter and protect all their kids from all worldly influence. Obviously, the meaning crisis is full of people who have deconstructed from fundamentalist approaches to doing that. And I think that academia is full of people that have come from more performance-based versions of that. So I guess the point is that one of the most influential books that Keller wrote to me is his book Counterfeit Gods, about idolatry. And the thing is that we cannot live without serving and worshiping some master. And if we don't worship God, we will worship something else. We'll make an idol of it. And so to say someone who's not a Christian is better at something than me, it's a performative betterness because they are driven by idolatry. And so the fruit of that idolatry is not going to be healthy fruit. It will be impressive in some ways. It will have characteristics that are better, but it will not ultimately lead to a good thing. And so I think that that approach, which is to look at those who don't have Christ and see how they are better than us, well, ultimately, the only option you have to reach them is this winsome thing. You have to show them how your life is so amazing and you get so much done, but I have this one little thing that maybe I could add that could make your life even better. And the point is to say, no, it doesn't matter if they're better at me at parenting or at working, or creative things. It's not serving God, it's serving an idol. And Rookmacher talked about this in a similar way in his book, Art Needs No Justification, where he talks about how, we go to Europe and we see these amazing paintings and sculptures and things, and we say, oh, that was done by Michelangelo. And the thing is that we don't even notice. When we know that Michelangelo did it, the most impressive thing about it is that Michelangelo did it. We don't even notice the details of the thing. It is unable to speak to us in the same way as the statue or the painting that we just stumble across, who we do not know the author's name. And ultimately, through our creative endeavors, God receives the most glory when we are taking the least glory from him. And so Michelangelo created statues that glorify himself, ultimately. They don't really glorify God, because we say, oh, Michelangelo, only he could do what he did, and therefore we don't glorify God because of his talent. We glorify him. So I guess, I don't know what the point is to say to wrap it up. I understand the limits of this stuff. And I think the only way to approach it is with humility. And we have to say, I can't do this on my own. I am not exceptional enough. There's nothing within me that makes my effort spectacular. But if I give to God my inadequacies, my weaknesses, my failures, as well as my best effort, he will take all of that and use it together to glorify himself in the most profound way possible. And that's something that you really only can do if you're believing in God. And that is what it means to have faith. It means that you're trusting in him to do the miraculous. And anything that's beyond our own capabilities is miraculous in a sense. So those are my thoughts, and let me know what you think.